If you're a regular viewer of my channel, you'll know that I've started slowly falling out of love with The Sims 4. The Sims 3, a game which once broke boundaries with its open worlds and ambitious packs, seemed to revert back in The Sims 4. Yes, Sims in The Sims 4 can multitask, but that's the only way they can really progress. The game reverted back to a closed world. In fact, not even a closed world, but more so a closed lot system with tons of loading screens, which really disappointed me when I started the game. I went from being able to do literally anything I wanted to wherever I wanted to in The Sims 3 to being stuck in a home lot in The Sims 4 with no real incentive to go around and do things and explore and enjoy the game. The game launched with barely anything, and it's for that reason I quit The Sims 4 after just a couple of weeks of playing with it and went back to The Sims 3. It's only until recently, almost 10 years into The Sims 4's lifespan, that they've finally started adding more groundbreaking features such as the social dynamic system and growing together. Even then, having to pay for an overwhelming amount of DLC in order to achieve a fun experience is unrealistic for most players who can't afford all the packs. What started as a game focused on basically just simulating life has become very gimmicky in my opinion. Purchase laundry day stuff to live out your best laundry life with brand new washing machines and air dryers. Like, I'm sorry, but nobody can gaslight me into thinking like that's what life simulation is about, because it's not. It's not just the packs, but also the general setup of the game worlds. The latest expansion pack, Growing Together, has a big world with a lot of stuff, but it's all fake set dressing. The beautiful buildings here, you can't interact with them. The objects in the world, you can't interact with them. If you see a nice lot and think how lovely it would be to build on it, well, you can't, because it's all fake. The Sims 4 has some huge beautiful worlds, but realistically most players don't visit any of these areas. In some official Sims 4 marketing and live streams, they often big up how you can make your own stories and create your Sims lives, but really, I'm not a 5-year-old and I'm not naive enough to play pretend. I don't want to pretend The Sims 4 has an open world or pretend that something is happening when it's not. And it's for these reasons The Sims 4 is becoming less of a life simulation game for me and more so just a gimmicky cash cow. It has pretty aesthetics, but it doesn't have the creative freedom to do what you want, be who you want in the game, unless you play pretend. And I'm not playing pretend, I'm not 5 years old. Paralives is the first proper life simulation game that's really gained popularity since The Sims 4. However, unlike the beast that is EA, Paralives is not made by a major publisher. It's an indie game and it's fully crowd-funded. Despite being a crowd-funded indie game, Paralives has made a huge mark among Sims players for its fresh back to basics approach to life simulation. As of yet, the game is so early on in development, we still don't know everything that's coming, but for what it's worth, it's already starting to look like a really beautiful, cozy game that has all the fundamental features of a life sim package with some really creative tools for building, designing characters, and tons of mod support. It's from those many simmers, including myself, has started getting more excited about life simulation in general again. Finally, something that's a life sim game, but different. Something that doesn't have a restrictive closed lot system or tons of DLC. During the development of Paralives, I often see comments from people saying Paralives better have a seasons pack, or Paralives must have a cult DLC and a generations pack. And it's funny because like Paralives is not The Sims. Just because The Sims 4 has a huge disjointed pack system, that doesn't mean that Paralives has to be identical to it. In fact, as far as we know, Paralives is not really going to be focusing on DLC. They may release a couple of things, but all of the core fundamental game features are going to be in the game itself. An emphasis on saying game, not base game, because The Sims 4 is a base game, but Paralives is a game, and there's a big difference. Is an indie game like Paralives gonna captivate us so much that we're gonna jump ship from The Sims 4 and leave EA in the dirt? Probably not. The Sims is huge and always will be huge. Building a brand over 20 years must count for something, but we've already seen Paralives allegedly make EA step up a bit. Ever since Paralives started growing attention and showing off their curved walls feature, EA promptly announced a curved wall feature for The Sims 4. Granted, it was implemented in a way that was very buggy and sloppy. I believe it shows they are listening to what other developers are doing. Even though Paralives themselves may not have the power to kill off The Sims 4, The Sims is about to get some major competition. Life by You is another upcoming life simulation game, although this time it's actually a large publisher. Not as big as EA, but very big. Life by You is still in early development too, but has already shown to come with an open world, cars, as well as many other creative things, live careers, shop shops all included as standard. It feels like The Sims 3, but it's not going to have any rabbit holes. Anything and everything is interactable and seems to appreciate what life simulation is actually about. The reason why this specific publisher is actually quite significant is because Paradox, who are making Life by You, also made City Skylines, which was a major competitor to the EA title SimCity. And funnily enough, City Skylines literally did kill off SimCity because people were so disappointed with EA's handling of SimCity series that everyone basically jumped ship to start playing City Skylines. And now Cities is the biggest city building simulator, and now the SimCity series by EA is basically dead. Do I think Paradox have the ability to make every single Sims 4 player jump ship? Absolutely not. And that is because, to be honest, they feel like very different games. Contrary to previous Sims games, The Sims 4 has taken the series in a very kind of childish and family-friendly way to life simulation. Many of the popular DLC packs are centered around cute things like raising pets and cute toddlers. Life by You, on the other hand, seems to be looking a lot more mature and will almost certainly cater to a different audience. It's like how Super Mario is a very family-friendly, universal platforming game, whereas Crash Bandicoot is a very different platformer with a slightly more mature audience. Both are platformers, but both are equally very different games, and you don't really directly compare these games with each other, and that's because they don't really compete with each other, but more so just exist in the same space. I like to think the same about The Sims and Paralives and Life by You and any other potential upcoming life simulation game. Although the difference is the life simulation gaming genre is a very, very niche genre that's very, very small, and it has always basically just been dominated by EA. The Sims is and has already been the only major life simulation game to ever exist, so I understand how it's easy to make direct comparisons between them, although I don't think it's unreasonable to just let them coexist in the same space, but I know it's not easy. On the recent Life by You trailers on YouTube, there are tons of comments suggesting how excited people are that The Sims now has competition and that EA will no longer fully dominate the market, and I couldn't agree more. When one company has total domination of a specific market, it's never good. Different brands offering the same products and services means that prices get driven down, and in regards to gaming, this has some really great consequences that can affect players. Even Will Wright, the creator of The Sims 4, said The Sims needs competition because competition is good for driving it forward in a healthy way. As a very good illustrative example, as The Sims 4 is the only life simulation game, if you want to simulate doing laundry as a part of life, you must purchase a Laundry Day stuff pack. And because EA has total monopoly over the genre, the only way to experience doing laundry in a life simulation game is to purchase the Sims 4 laundry pack. EA's domination means that they are able to exploit you and make money from you by upselling you DLC about laundry. Life by You, on the other hand, has actually shown us in their announcement trailer somebody doing laundry in the base game. And this is great for Sims 4 players because now it's highly likely that The Sims 5 will include laundry in the base game as standard, because Life by You offers it in the base game as standard and they're competing with each other, and EA don't want shareholders to give up on The Sims 4 and move to Life by You. Life by You also has live careers and retail shopping in the base game, which are only existent in DLC packs in The Sims 4. Therefore, it's also likely that The Sims 5 also may come with live careers and shops in the base game as standard, because EA doesn't want their players or shareholders to jump ship. These are small but representative examples of how competition is really great for you as a player. Even if you don't play Life by You, even if you don't play Paralives, the fact that the competition exists will mean that you will see benefits from that just by playing The Sims 4. Although Paradox are not shy of DLC, and that is something that they do have in common with EA. Although I do think it's slightly different. City Skylines, a game by Paradox I play, has a lot of DLC, but I don't really find any of it that cash grabby. For example, in the game there is an industries DLC. The DLC basically lets you make industries in the game, like a farming industry or a forestry industry, etc. And it makes a gameplay of managing these industries really, really intricate, like micromanagement. And for me as a player, I really enjoy that. But if you don't want that DLC, you can still actually have industries in the base game of City Skylines. You can have a farming industry or a forestry industry just in the base game, but with the industries DLC, it makes it more intricate for those who appreciate micromanagement of industries. You can enjoy cities without any DLC. DLC, but it's there for those who want it. And that's a key difference for me. In The Sims 4, you have to purchase DLC in order to actually make the game good. But it gets even more interesting than that, because City Skylines did also have a weather DLC like The Sims 4 Seasons. It was called Snowfall, and it was the worst DLC pack for cities ever. It is horrifically received, and that's because it is terrible. And the developers heard people's disappointments with it very loud and clear. And in the development of City Skylines 2, they've actually given us sneak peeks of weather existing in the base game, meaning that for Cities 2, they responded to fans' criticism, and now weather will be in the base game as standard and not DLC. And that's why I'm genuinely so excited for the competition. Whereas EA has consistently given us a seasons pack for basically every single Sims game because they know that they can get away with it, Paradox has taken the opposite angle and said, hey, we'll just give the players what they want in the base game. And that's the difference in mindset for me regarding the DLC. Despite having basically total domination over the city building genre now, Paradox are not exploiting that position to upsell weather as DLC in Cities 2. Instead, they're just making it base game friendly, allegedly based on the announcement information that we've seen, highlighting this very different approach to handling DLC between both companies. Makes me a lot more hopeful that Life by You will not have an exploitive DLC model. I do really hope that you don't have to pay for weather DLC in the game. I do hope it comes as standard. Also, important thing to note as well about Paralives is that that game is also coming with weather in the base game. We don't know if Life by You is coming with weather in the base game or not, but we know for a fact that Paralives is, and it will have seasons. If Paralives and Life by You said, hey, we offer seasons and weather in our base game as standard, and The Sims 5 says, hey, weather is DLC, that could potentially kill off The Sims 4. It really could. But I like to think EA are not stupid, and if both of these games did come with weather in the base game as standard, we might also see The Sims 5 follow suit. EA will not let The Sims 4 die off. I think it's too much of a big cash cow for them to ever do that. So are these brand new life simulation games going to kill off The Sims 4 because EA has always had a cash grabby DLC model? Honestly, I think it's going to change for The Sims 5. I think they're going to adapt. They've never adapted with The Sims. Every Sims game has basically been the exact same game, followed the exact same formula, but I do think The Sims 5 will follow a slightly different formula. Many Simmers have angrily protested games like Paralives and Life by You, often acting a little threatening. I'll be honest, like, I've been a part of a lot of gaming communities in my life, and the Sims community has been the most toxic and unreasonable gaming community I've ever been a part of. I do think people can be very unreasonable and demanding, and it's definitely showing a lot with the advent of new and upcoming life simulation games. Many people are saying, you know, Paralives and Life by You are going to be a flop and they're going to crash and burn. I do think Simmers have absolutely no chill. I'm going a bit off topic, but this is my representative illustration of what I think Simmers are like. You know, like when you're eating something that you don't like and you're repulsed by the food and you're like, I can't eat this anymore, it's gross, I don't want to eat it. And somebody says to you, well, there are children dying in third world countries, don't be so ungrateful. And it's like, whoa, what's that got to do with me not liking the taste of bloody tomatoes in my sandwich? Like, why are we trauma dumping all of a second and making this huge big thing of it? Like, that's what Simmers are like. Simmers are the kind of people, in my opinion, that would guilt trip you into not liking the taste of a sandwich. Like, do you know what I mean? I really do hope that Paralives and Life by You and any other upcoming life simulation game will be able to craft a much more respectful corner of the gaming world. Paralives already looks to come across as a very cozy and chill game, and I'm very much sure it'll cater to a much more chilled audience because of that. Life by You also similarly seems to have a much more mature vibe to the game, and again, I'm hoping the audience follows suit with that too. It is 100% natural to compare life simulation games, and that's simply because there aren't that many existing right now, even though there's such a high demand. I don't think it's fair to say any new life sims are going to kill off The Sims. Don't get me wrong, I do think The Sims, and particularly The Sims 4, is a very exploitive game, but with upcoming life simulation games, we can only make an educated assumption that this will begin to change for the better for people who play The Sims. I mean, is EA like, I'm not going to get too excited. It should drive some positive steps forward for everyone, and that can only be a good thing. I have been covering Paralives and Life by You. You can check out one of these two videos here to keep up on it if you like. Otherwise, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.